Welcome to another session of Business Data Science with Delali. And today, we're actually going to talk about experimentation in business beyond A/B testing. Okay, so we've done several videos about experimentation in business, how to conduct experiment, how to come up with the right hypothesis, the right metrics of success, and all the things to consider when running A/B testing. But in business, experimentation goes beyond A/B testing, and so today we want to actually highlight some of the other ways you can actually do what we call causal inference, or or how you can actually test the impact of some initiative that you want to do and actually experiment it and actually be able to measure the actual impact of those initiatives, right? Because A/B testing provides you one way to actually test a randomized group. You can call one group control group and then the other group a treatment group. The treatment group is the group where you assign your treatment, or the change that you want to measure, and then you compare that against a randomized control group, and then you see you see the effect, right? So that's like in a nutshell what A/B testing usually is. And again, we've talked about this, and so I'm linking this video right here for you. You can watch, if you've not watched our series on experimentation in business, or even on A/B testing. Okay, so an example of A/B testing is, let's say I'm a marketing manager and I want to understand the impact of a particular promotion against what I've currently been doing. And so let's say my current promotion that I usually run is 30% off. Okay, every purchase 30% off, and then now I want to try something more like 20% of $50 or more purchase. Okay, so I could test that new marketing offer or promotion against the existing one in an A/B test. Okay, A/B test is very simple, that you can run it, easy to interpret, and so many people actually use that. In fact, it's the most important one in business. But beyond A/B testing, there are so many methods and so many things you can do to meet your specific use case. And today, let's just talk about some of them. Okay, and so beyond A/B testing, what are some of the methodologies that you can use to understand the effect of many things you want to change in business, or to actually experiment? What are some of the methods you can use to experiment in different cases, right? So we have methods like multivariate and factorial experiment, okay, which we are going to talk a little bit about today. So multivariate or call them factorial experiments. These are experiments that test beyond one factor, right? So in the A/B testing example that I was saying, you were testing only promotions. What if you want to test things like promotions, at the same time you want to test website placement, at the same time you want to test messaging, right? So you want to test these three things. You want to understand how these three things work together. So now you have three factors. Okay, how do you run experiments for this at once, right? So you could do sequential A/B tests, but it takes a lot of time. But you can actually do multivariate testing, or have a factorial design that will run this, and I'm going to explain that very quickly, okay, soon. But you can also do things like multi-armed bandit experiments, where you actually dynamically in real time direct more traffic to your winning variant. So let's say you are running an experiment, and then the winning variant, you can actually direct more traffic to the winning variant in real time. Okay, so that's what's called multi-armed bandit experiment. You could use that. You could do things like geo-based experiments, for example, where you do market testing. You try to randomize in different regions to achieve your outcome. Okay, you could do things like what we call interrupted time series, ITS, where you look at pre and post trend, and see when you done some intervention, and then try to understand what happens there. You could also do other things like what we call quasi experiment methods, like observational, causal, inference type methods where you do things like difference in differences, things like regression, discontinuity design. You can do all these sort of things, okay, and many more. So there are a lot of statistical methods or data science methods that you can use to test several things based on your use case. And so today I want to talk about one of the design that is very, very useful, in experimentation in business beyond A/B testing, and that is going to be multivariate, experiments, or some cases you call them factorial, experimental design. So, what exactly are factorial designs, or let's just call them multivariate testing? What exactly are they? Well, multivariate testing involves testing multiple variables, okay, simultaneously, so that you can actually measure their impact and as well as their interactions. So it's very easy to explain this with examples. So let's say you actually have a website. You want to test the layout of the website, but you also want to understand how that layout works with the pricing as well as the messaging. So you have three factors. So you have the layout of your website, you have your pricing, and then you have your messaging. You want to understand how these things work together to drive, let's say, some output for you, whether it's conversion or revenue per visit, whatever it is. Well, you could design an experiment that will look at all these factors simultaneously and then run this experiment. So that's what multivariate experiments are. So they are experiments that simultaneously test two or more variables, okay, two or more factors at the same time, okay, to try to understand their impact, especially also combinations of these factors and how they impact your output or your outcome. Okay, so in a nutshell, that's a multivariate experiment. Okay, why do businesses use multivariate experiment? Well, number one, it's a faster learning approach, especially if you have the traffic for it, if you have the sample size for it. It's actually very fast. You can learn multiple things very, very quickly, all at once. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, it actually reveals how things actually happen in business, because in practice things don't happen in isolation. When you are doing A/B testing, you are actually looking at one particular factor and you are controlling for all the other factors. But we all know that in practice many things work in combinations to produce whatever outcome that we have, and multivariate testing or factorial designs help you actually analyze those things or experiment those things in order to measure their output. So they are very good. Okay, however, they also come with some challenges. Number one challenge is that they require high sample sizes, because you need a lot of sample, because you may have a lot of variants, so you need more samples to be able to have statistically valid read for all your variants. That's number one. And also the analysis becomes more complex. Okay, sometimes it's difficult for stakeholders to to interpret some of these results, and even difficult to design because it's more complex. Okay, so that's factorial designs. But beyond A/B testing, you can actually run factorial designs based on your use case. Okay, so in order to actually help you really understand factorial design, let's look at a particular table that I created that can help you truly understand factorial designs or multivariate experiments. So let's say you want to understand what website layout, pricing, display, and messaging combinations will drive the highest conversion or the highest revenue per visit for you. Okay, so you have three things you want to understand. Okay, the website layout, how pricing is displayed, and the messaging that combinations that will drive your conversion. Okay, and what you have for website layout, let's say you have two types of layout. First one is a standard layout, maybe how your website is now. And then your second one, you are curious to see how it will perform, is like a simplified layout. Maybe you want to have some fewer elements, you want to have a clearer call to actions in your website. Okay, so now you have two levels. Okay, so we call this two levels of the factor. The factor now is the website layout, and the levels of the factor are the standard and the simplified layout. Okay, so that's factor one. Okay, now factor two is the pricing display. Maybe you want to show full price, so that's one level of price. Or you want to show a discounted price, for example, maybe 20% off. So now you also have two levels of the pricing display. Okay, and then you have the third factor, which is messaging. Maybe you want to have a kind of a quality type where you communicate, oh, this is the high quality you can trust. Okay, that's one type of messaging. Or you want to create some urgency with your messaging, which is like limited time offer. Okay, so that could be a messaging style. So now you have two levels of messaging too, right? So again, now if you notice, you have three factors. That is website layout, that's factor one. Factor two is pricing display, and then factor three is messaging. And then each of these factors actually have two different levels. Okay, so now if you think about it, three factors, two levels, you have 2 raised to the power 3, which is 8, right? 2 times 2 times 2 combinations, we call them variants. In this particular case, we call them full factorial design. Okay, so as you can see on the screen right now, we have a full factorial design, 2 by 2 by 2. Okay, and you notice that each variant or each level appears with the levels of all the other factors. Okay, so if you take the first factor, which is the website layout, you have the standard and the simplified. Okay, you see that standard and simplified appears with all the combination of the pricing and the messaging. Okay, take a look for a minute. Just look at these 8 variants of treatments that comes with this factorial design. Just take a look. Right? So this is what we call a full factorial design. There are a lot of business use cases where you will want to use this type of design. And so in experimentation, not only A/B testing or extensions of A/B testing that people say ABC or ABCD testing, right? Of course, ABCD testing just means that again, it's one factor. You are just testing maybe different forms of prices against some control group. So that could be ABC. Let's say you have 3 or 4 different types of promotions and you test that against a control group, which is your existing strategy. That could be ABCD testing. Again, one factor. But factorial designs or multivariate testing goes beyond one factor and gives you maybe 2 or 3 factors. Within each factor, you may have multiple levels, and then you may want to test the combinations of all of this. Okay, so how do you analyze this? We can talk about this in another video, but today my goal is to make sure that you all understand factorial experiments or multivariate testing. Okay, so in conclusion, A/B testing is not the only method for running experiment in business. There are other methods. Okay, I've mentioned multi-arm bandits, I've mentioned multivariate testing, which we'll talk about today. I've mentioned interrupted time series. There are many methods, and today we've talked about multivariate design, where you have 2 or 3 or even more factors with different levels, and you have combinations of all of these factors for your experiment, as shown in the image that I showed. And I hope this is helpful. Again, if you have not watched our videos on many different kinds of things under experimentation, I'm linking some for you here again, and hopefully this is helpful to you. We will talk later. Bye bye.